You get to ask me anything regarding health, fitness, nutrition, those kinds of topics. And the whole point of this Q&A video, which is live, is to provide as much value as possible for you to hopefully, get you on the right track or keep you on the right track or, help you with your actual health and fitness journey. Because I've personally been through a lot. I coach a lot of people that also lose weight, keep it off, and understand nutrition the best way possible. So if I can provide you with some information, some help to get you on the right path, then I will feel successful. So what the way it's going to work is, ask me all the questions or any questions that you have for me in the chat below. I'll see the questions. There'll be a lot more than I can personally handle, but I'll pick the best ones that will be the most relevant to everybody else. So I want to answer anybody's question. It will effectively help a lot of other people. So I guarantee it, if you have a question that you have personally, it will help at least 100 other people at very minimum, because a lot of people watch these lives. And if you can hear me and see me, just type number 1 down below, because this mic, I never know if it's connected or not. And let me know if you're watching me on live or on the replay down below in the comments. And let's take a few questions to just get this going. What's up, Rachel? What's up, Robin? Any questions you may have that will help you get on the right track, or anything regarding health, fitness, nutrition, working out, that kind of stuff, feel free to just ask them down below. I see all the comments on my screen right here. I'll get back to as many people as I can. A lot of people watching this live. What's the minimum calories you need to eat daily? What is the minimum you can survive on? Well, how many calories can you survive on is very, very drastic, crazy question, because you can probably survive on just water until you deplete your fat storage, but you definitely don't want to do that at all, because you don't want to survive. And that's the biggest misconception people have when they're trying to lose weight, is they think about what's the least amount of calories that I can eat to survive on. And that will get you off track every single time, because you'll be in a very deprived state of mind. You will always feel lethargic. You will always feel like you're just eating to survive. When the mentality should be, how much can I eat? What's the most amount of food that I can eat to lose weight? Because what happens is, when you feel like you're just surviving, you're just counting down the days until you just ultimately fail, because it's not sustainable. Whereas if your mentality was, or just your actions of eating as much food as possible while being in a calorie deficit, you don't feel like you're deprived. You don't feel like you're just surviving. You don't feel like you're just trying to get by. And if you're losing weight by eating as much food as possible, which is exactly what my clients do, a lot of them tell me, I can't believe I'm eating this much and losing weight, because that is the goal. You want to eat as much as possible in order to stay on track as best as possible, and as consistently as possible. Because if you're losing weight and you're eating more than before, I mean, that's an amazing problem to have. That's an amazing thing. So you don't want to eat just to survive. You want to eat, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to eat while you're in a caloric deficit, but you want to eat as much as possible, so that if you happen to hit like a stall in weight before, because your metabolism catches up, you have actual room to reduce the calories. Because if you're eating as little as possible and you hit a stall in your weight loss, how else are you going to reduce your calories by? Are you going to eat even less than you were eating before? That's impossible. Or are you going to do a lot more workouts or more cardio? That's going to be extremely difficult too. So you want to have some leverage. And the way to get that leverage is to eat as much as possible from the beginning. As far as how many calories you need to personally eat, I don't know that until I look at, details that will actually help me make that number up. What's up, everyone? So, advice for beginners, advice for beginning intuitive eating after tracking for 3 months. As far as intuitive eating, I would recommend to just get most of your carbs from fruits and vegetables. That's a very easy way to kind of reduce your calories while being more filled up. When you're choosing protein choices, try to opt in for the leaner protein choices. Instead of salmon, maybe you're gonna maybe have like tilapia. Instead of chicken thighs, do chicken breasts. Instead of ground beef, maybe you want to do a lean cut of steak or very lean ground beef. Instead of very oily vegetables that are cooked in oil or grilled or sauteed, try to get roasted or grilled or fresh or pickled vegetables. You want to be mindful of the calories if you're not counting calories, because calories matter every single time. It doesn't mean that you have to count them. There's many different ways to create a caloric deficit without actually counting calories. And if you don't like counting calories, it's not a bad thing at all. Like a lot of people don't count calories, but you got to understand ways to actually create that deficit and without counting it. What's up from Toronto? Does Dandy Blend break a fast? I'm not sure what a Dandy Blend is. I think it may be like a protein powder or so. But if you're fasting, any kind of consumption of calories will effectively break the fast. So anything that's not water or black coffee. Keep asking me questions down in the comments below, and let me know also what are you currently struggling with, so I can see kind of what you're going through, so I can make content specifically for you to help you out even more. So let me know what are some of the struggles that you're kind of experiencing or have experienced before, or what you need more support on. How do you track calories, and how do I know what my maximum calorie intake should be to lose weight? So I love MyFitnessPal. There's also Noom, I believe. There's It's a very easy app to track calories. But as far as how many calories you should be eating to lose weight, you can take one of there's many approaches, but I'll just tell you three of them. Maybe you can take your goal body weight. Starting body, your current body weight, multiply between 10 to 12, 10 to 13. The smaller number that you use, the higher your deficit will be. That's a very inaccurate, but kind of like a good enough, guesstimation for now to get you on the right track. You can Google a TDEE calculator, which would be a lot more accurate, but still not perfect. There's like probably thousands of Google calculators for your caloric expenditure, TDEE. But if you want to be the most accurate as possible, and you're more detail oriented, you want the exact number, the best way to do that is just to track every single thing you eat for at least 2 to 4 weeks. And when your weight stops fluctuating, it's stagnant, you found your maintenance calories. Now, once you find your maintenance calories by tracking everything without using a calculator, subtract a few hundred. Maybe if you want to, I would say from about 2 to 300, 2 to 500 about. The higher number that you use, the faster your weight loss will be, which is not necessarily better. It's just a faster rate of weight loss. From Chicagoland, what's going on? Are protein requirements the same for someone with sedentary jobs as an active person who weighs the same? No, if you're more active, you're going to need more protein. That's definitely for like recovery reasons and stuff like that. So, but remember, at the end of every single day, the most important part is your caloric intake. So don't feel forced to stuff chicken breast or protein powder down your throat because you feel like you got to eat more protein. Focus on the calories, have a generally higher intake of protein, and you'll be absolutely fine. Exactly. So the mindset of what's the maximum amount of calories that you can eat while losing weight is a much healthier, and it's a much more sustainable mindset than how many or what is the least amount of calories that I can survive on while losing weight. It's a huge difference, but a lot of people, I would say majority of people, when they first start losing weight, they go from eating a whole bunch of food to eating as little as possible, and they try to survive on those calories. And then they get upset when they fall off track and they feel like they're doing something wrong and that maybe it just doesn't work for them. And how is somebody else seeing progress and they can't? Well, it's because you eat as little as possible from the beginning. How do you imagine yourself being sustainable with this? It's not possible. So eat as much as possible while being a slight calorie deficit. That'll be more sustainable. And it's the same. People get really bummed out about losing a pound a week. They want to lose 6, 7 pounds a week, but 5 pounds a week is not sustainable. 6 pounds a week is not sustainable. But a pound a week is over 50 pounds in a whole entire year. A lot of people don't have that much weight to lose in the first place, but that's a lot of weight. And people spend years in the same cycle, repeated every single time because they keep chasing that 5 pounds by eating as little as possible. And they waste time by chasing those huge numbers, huge deficits, huge amounts of weight loss desired, and they get nowhere. Whereas the person that chases half a pound or a pound of weight loss a week will drastically hit their goals faster than somebody else who tries to do more. It's I understand why that may be, because of maybe instant gratification. It's natural to want that, but you got to take a step back and realize what is right, what's sustainable, and what's actually going to get you to not only keep the weight, not lose the weight, but actually keep the weight off. Keep asking me your questions. Live from Hello from Nova Scotia. I bet it's pretty cold over there. You're trying to lose weight or trying to eat what's required, but it's too much food. I still don't understand calorie deficit. I'm walking every day in weight training when my body weight allows. And you've lost 1 pound in 2 weeks. That's not bad at all. A pound in 2 weeks is nothing to dismiss. And I want everyone here to that may be attached to the scale. I want you to understand that your weight will fluctuate day by day, week by week. There's other factors of progress that you have to prioritize, such as how your clothes are fitting. That's huge. How your body measurements are changing, which is why it's important to take body measurements. How your progress photos look, how your food relationship is. Maybe you used to starve yourself for, I don't know, 3 quarters of the day and binge eat in the evening. And now you notice that it doesn't happen anymore. Why isn't that considered to be amazing progress when it's happening? But a pound of weight loss in 2 weeks is, all that your mindset is just focused on. Those things matter so much more. So separate yourself away from just focusing on the scale and look at other things that are happening, as far as also your strength, your stamina. How many days you go to the gym compared to before. That's a huge level of progress. Maybe you were uncomfortable going to the gym, but now you're going there every single week because you just enjoy it. That's amazing progress. Separate yourself away from the scale and start to prioritize every other thing that matters. And if you find yourself attached to the scale, type scale down below, because I went through the same exact thing in the beginning. I was attached to the scale every single day. And whenever I didn't reach the number I thought I was going to reach, no matter how much progress I made, it was dismissed because it didn't matter. So once you understand every other factor of progress, there's so many, but nobody focuses on them because they just don't deem it to be important. Like, why isn't it important? Those things matter so much more. So if you're not, a pound in 2 weeks is amazing. You're doing everything right. Like, if your clothes are fitting better, if you're if you're stronger, if your food relationship has gotten better, if your uh, measurements and your clothes are fitting better, and the scale isn't going down, you're doing nothing wrong at all. You're doing all the things right. Hopefully that makes sense. As far as calorie tracking, I recommend MyFitnessPal, the free version. You don't gotta pay for it. It's totally fine. How do you know you're in a caloric deficit? Um, generally, you'll be a bit hungrier, like naturally, depending on how large the deficit is. Usually, not all the time. The best way to see if you're in a caloric deficit is if you're consistently uh, dropping down in weight, measurements, all that kind of stuff. And what I mean consistently over time, over few weeks to a month, not in a day by day, because your weight will fluctuate all the time. So, I mean, you can also use a TDEE calculator or track your food like I mentioned before, by yourself to determine your own calorie requirements. But the best way to find if you're actually in a calorie deficit is tracking all your food. Yeah, it's tedious, but it is what it is. If you really want to be in a calorie deficit, and you want to know the details and numbers, track your food at the very minimum, not just the calories, right? So there's a few factors that go into understanding if you're in a calorie deficit, but how hungry you are, how much weight you're losing over a period of time, how your clothes are fitting, your measurements, all these things. So they should all be considered, as far as also the numbers that you should be eating. Yeah, late night snacking is my struggle as well, has been for many years. I'm going through all these questions right now, so I'm trying to catch up. I'm only one person, so I'm trying to get back to as many people as I can. Um, let's see. You tend to eat late at night, and you're wondering if it's going to turn into fat, if it's going to slow down your progress. So there's two questions to this, two parts to this question. So number one, it's not going to turn to fat. There's a whole myth like if you eat after 6 or 7 p.m., your calories will turn to fat because that's how magic works. It doesn't work that way. You can eat 30 minutes before bed and it's not going to turn to fat because the calories matter at the end of every single day. So if you maintain your weight on 2,000 calories, but you eat, I don't know, 2,200, some of those 200 excess calories will get turned to fat. If you eat a few hundred calories under, even if it's after 7 p.m., it will not turn to fat because it's going to be you'll be under your maintenance calories. You'll be in a deficit. So calories matter all the time. It's not the time that you eat; it's how much you eat on average. But if you have trouble eating late at night, I would suggest to make your dinner perhaps your largest meal of the day. Instead of having whatever you were eating before, instead make it a giant salad. Throw some protein in there. Throw an abundance of vegetables to make sure that that meal fills you up for as long as possible because you likely late or snack late at night because you're hungry. So what happens when you're hungry? You start eating things that taste the best. They're very small, usually cookies, sweets, chips, candy, ice cream, stuff like that, and you fill up because you're hungry on food that is very calorically dense, which means that it has a lot of calories in a very small amount of food. So fill up on the essentials, which is the dinner, make it your largest meal, and you'll find that you don't snack nearly as much because you're filled up from that dinner. Yeah, late night snacking is a big deal. So your doctor suggests Wegovy. It's a 1 week shot to curb appetite. So as far as medical advice, I don't provide any medical advice. If that is something that your medical professional, your doctor says that you have to do because they run tests, that's up to their and your discretion. But as far as my understanding of weight loss doctor prescribed shots, they are beneficial for certain individuals because they curb your appetite. Now you may be in a position where that's your last resort. Maybe that's one of your last resorts, and maybe that will be beneficial for you, but that's up to you and your medical professional, not to some guy on social media sharing, weight loss help and stuff like that. That's a medical thing that you should do your own research on, maybe get a second opinion on, and consider. But as far as I know, I follow a lot of obesity and weight loss specific medical professionals, and they do prescribe their clients some medications once in a while, but they still prioritize healthy eating and the proper eating before crossing that bridge. Hopefully that makes sense. How long should you walk per day if you're unable to power walk due to past injuries? Don't power walk. You don't have to power walk. If you're just get a step counter, get a on your phone, on a watch, set a target for yourself and hit that target every day or as often as possible. There's no requirement to power walk, just like there's no requirement to jog or run. Just get your steps in. As far as your intensity for walking, just make sure that you can hold a conversation as far as how you're breathing, how you gauge your breathing, but also not to the point where you're leisurely walking, not like where you're crawling on the street in a sense. Not so between super slow walking and power walking, unless you want to power walk, but there's no requirement for that whatsoever. Do I use an app to create recipes for nutritional content? I think my can't speak. My Fitness Pal has an option to make your own recipes. But what I do is I just personally I uh, separate the ingredients of whatever food I'm eating into singular things. Like if I'm making, I don't know, chicken and vegetables or chicken and pasta, I separate the ingredients. I plug them in individually, and then that's what I use. You can do weight training and cardio at night. Is that still good? Listen, it doesn't matter what time you do it, as long as you do it. Consistency is everything. I've been saying that from day one. You can look at my videos from year and a half ago. I always preach consistency. Consistency does not mean frequency. Consistency is what it means to you. If you can work out twice a week and then do it again the following week, that is consistent. If you can work on or work out or go for a walk 4 times a week, yeah, it's not as much as some other people may do, but if you repeat that consistency again and walk 4 weeks, 4 days out of the week, the following week, that is consistency. Consistency is absolutely everything. And I've been saying this for years. I should make it my slogan or something because I believe in it. No matter how small your progress is, if you repeat that progress or you do what allowed you to reach that progress consistently, you will reach your goal. But people chase huge goals. They're not consistent. They're very sporadic. They do one thing here, one thing there, and then they think they're going to reach their results. That's not consistency. Just do a little bit over a long period of time, and you will be successful in what you're trying to reach. Obviously, including weight loss. Mentally stable happiness in my kitchen has been a huge factor in the beginning of my journey. Absolutely. You want to reach for food in your kitchen that you know is just going to be better for you. It's not going to be the best a lot of times, but if you surround yourself with better for you choices and you reach for something, you are better. You have a better peace of mind knowing that wherever you reach for will be relatively better for your goals because you planned ahead. You surround yourself with better for you choices. That's also, having a kitchen that, listen, if you got to prepare yourself, your surroundings, just like how you want to surround yourself with people that just want to bring you up, that aren't like negative, jerks all the time. You got to cut those people out of your life, so you have to surround your kitchen with food that is just better for you and your goals, because you want to be like, you want your circle of influence or your people around you to always lift you up because they want the best for you. You want your food to just have, the best intention in mind, in a sense. You want your food to support your goals, and that starts with having your kitchen just have better for you choices, whatever that may be. More fruits, more vegetables, more frozen fruits because you have no time to, I don't know, wash or clean frozen fruits or fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. Whatever that means to you, surround yourself with better choices, and you will thank yourself when you reach for food and know that it's better for you. Yeah, 1 pound a week is amazing progress. Weight training versus cardio, why not both? That's what I do. That's what I personally recommend. So you're very tired all the time with working a very hard labor job and struggle to find the energy to work out. This is a very big problem. So what Kyle says, I don't know how many of you know, but last January, not this January of 2021, I was working like 3 jobs at once before I officially started coaching people full time as the only thing that I do. And before then, I used to work for, I think, 4 or 5 years as a underground utility worker on electricity. And the schedule was very early. I used to work 70 to 80 hour weeks consistently. So I was burnt out trying to do that, trying to work on the business that I'm doing now, my spare time to make it grow, consistency. But how I got my fitness in check while I was working these not just crazy hours, the crazy shifts. So I was working um, morning shift, the second shift, the midnight shift. It was all rotating shift, and it doesn't make it easy, but you can still manage it. So I can give you any suggestions now. Maybe this is relevant to you. Maybe you work a rotating shift now. Is what worked for me the most or the best is not saving my workout for later in the evening because you're gonna be so tired after work. You're not gonna want to go to the gym. You're not gonna want to go for a walk or do cardio. Do it in the morning. It's gonna suck. It's not gonna be easy. It will take weeks, maybe a month to get used to it. You will not get used to morning workouts quickly. It will take time, but it's the best thing for you because I told myself I will never work out at home. I mean, in the morning. But I found myself never working out in the evening because I never had the energy or desire or the willpower to go to the gym after work. I was so tired. I mean, after working 12 to 16 hours, I don't want to do anything else. More labor, that's no. So I did it in the morning, and whatever happens afterwards happens. And bring your food to work every single time. Extra snacks, abundance of food, abundance of options, because if you have no food on you and you're at work, you will get off track if you start going out to like takeout or drive-throughs, because that's your only choice. Bring food to work and do your physical activities as far as your personal goals before you go to work. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but it will be extremely, extremely rewarding. I appreciate all these questions. I guarantee it, if it's helping, if you're asking a question, it's also helping somebody else, or probably dozens or hundreds of other people out there that are the same exact question as you do. And if you're getting any kind of value so far, as if what I'm sharing with you, what I'm answering is actually helpful, just drop a fire emoji down below so I know that this is actually helpful, and I'm not just speaking to myself in a sense. Water intake. What if you don't drink lots of water? So water intake for you is relevant to you. Just drink until you're not thirsty, and don't drown yourself in water. If that means having 8 to 10 glasses of water per day, or 6 to 8 glasses, it's fine. Don't feel a necessity to drink an abundance of water. If you want to drink more water because it does help with hunger a little bit, do it. Maybe if you want to drink a glass of water before a meal to make that meal a bit more satiating, do it. You test it out, but don't drown yourself in water because somebody told you that water is a necessity. It's not just water; it's liquids. So teas, coffees. There's also liquids in fruits and vegetables. People don't think about that. There's also in diet soda or 0 calorie juices. It's water everywhere. It's liquid intake, not just water intake. Thank you for sharing that, Amanda. Yeah, the meal ideas I share are for everyone, and if it helps at least one person, I know I've been successful. Trying to get to as many people as I can. So Gabriel asks, what are your tips on having self-control when it comes to trigger foods that taste great, making you overeat them all the time? So trigger foods are, like, for me, it's peanut butter. Something about it I gotta eat. I can't stop after just having like a tiny bit. So honestly, the best thing that I can share with you about trigger foods is just separate yourself away from them. Don't put yourself in the position around food that you just lose absolute control over. Whatever that food means, whatever that food is to you. Because if moderation isn't a possibility, just separate yourself away. Surround yourself around foods that trigger your ability to overeat. Simply put. Hopefully that helps. Stuff from Phoenix, Arizona. How's the weather over there? If you can hear me and see me still, I'm not sure if it's still going on, but I just keep this going. So hopefully it still works. But Gary asks, on days you don't work out, should you cut back on your calories even more so? I would say no. Consistency is absolutely everything again. So if you're in a caloric deficit today, be in the same calories for tomorrow. Just make sure your activity level is consistent. So if your caloric deficit is based on working out 3 days a week, then just work out 3 days a week with the same calories the following week. There's no need to, like, more details, more fluctuations. They don't help anybody. They add more confusion. They add more details into the mix. So if you're in a caloric deficit from day one, just keep it, until you hit a stall in weight, like an actual stall, then readjust your factors afterwards, such as maybe eating less, maybe moving more, one of those two things. And there's no need to readjust your calories for every day, every single day that you work out. Some people do it, but I would suggest not to do it because it adds more um, complexity and frustration and just more details to the whole thing, which is counterproductive to sustainability. Is there a daily target for grams of fat? I find if you avoid fats too much, you get hit with unreal cravings, even at 400 calorie deficit. So fats are important for brain function. As far as how much fats you should be eating, it depends from person to person. I would suggest just don't deplete your fats completely. You will feel super lethargic. You will feel tired. You're gonna have maybe even brain fog, which is what I personally experienced for a lot of years because I thought that fat was bad. And then on top of that, it destroyed my testosterone levels. Like I was super low, which made me feel super just down all the time. So don't deplete your fats. Have a decent amount of fats, maybe upwards of like 50 grams plus, maybe. I mean, depends on a person. What works for me will not work for you, but do not deplete your fats. They're absolutely essential to your how you feel, your hormone production, how your brain operates and works. Because you want to be quick, you don't want to be always slow because you're not eating any fats. You use Noom, they had you at 1,850 calories with 50% of your workout calories back to you. Uh huh. So, whenever using an app, never ever look at the calories that you're spending and eat it back. So, I guess Noom does it because I just read it, but MyFitnessPal does it as well. It will give you a caloric number, which isn't accurate from the beginning because it's very generic, which is what you got to figure out yourself. And it also give you calories to eat back. So it might guesstimate your workout was 500 calories. Now instead of eating 1,800, you should be eating 2,300. Do not eat back your calories. That will add more complexity, more inaccuracy, and it be a lot less consistent. Figure out your caloric deficit. That's it. Eat that many calories. Do not worry about how many calories you're burning. It does not matter. On top of those calculations for caloric burn being super inaccurate, you don't need those details. Figure out your calorie deficit, eat that amount of food in, and do not worry about how many calories you're spending as far as if you're walking, running, jogging, working out, you know, running across the country. Don't do that. Have I tried keto? I absolutely did try keto for many years, or over the course of many years. I tried it for I think maximum of 3 months because I thought that it was a magic pill, and I absolutely hated it. It was not sustainable. My workouts weren't that great, and my I just like carbs, point blank. I will not try keto. I will not tell someone to do keto. Keto, why it was created is for kids with epilepsy, it's as a medical treatment. People like keto because it takes, I'm not against keto by any means. I just don't think that, well, I know for a fact that keto is not sustainable. People that tell you I've been doing keto for the last 10 years, I guarantee you have not been doing keto every single day for the past 10 years. It's not realistic. And on top of that, um, if you want to try keto because it will get you to create better, healthier habits, maybe put you in a caloric deficit which will allow you to lose weight and improve your health, try it. There's no harm in that because you're still benefiting yourself. But just know that you're probably not going to be doing keto for the next couple of months or a few years. Just know that. So when you fall off track a bit from doing keto, know that it's to be expected. But if trying any kind of diet right now gets you on the right track even a little bit to create healthier habits, improve your health markers a little bit, do it. Because it may not be sustainable, it likely will not be sustainable, but you will still improve your health a little bit. But it's not just about health, it's about your food relationship. You want to make sure that you're looking at food not as a good or bad. You want to look at food as just nutrition. It's about why people love keto so much is because it takes the mentality out of even tracking their calories for most part. Because if you take out carbs out of your diet, that's over. I mean, carbs, that's like half of your food choices gone. So as a result, you can't choose more than half of your foods. So you just are left with fats and proteins for most part. So that by itself allows you to create caloric deficits. Keto creates a calorie deficit by eliminating or mostly eliminating carbs. Just how intermittent fasting is a magic, and I love intermittent fasting because it used to fit my schedule, but it's not magic. Intermittent fasting creates a caloric deficit by using a time restriction. Not magic, it just suits some people, you know? Yeah, you got to feel better. You just started doing factor 75 meals, and your sugar levels have leveled out and are in the healthy range. I'm not sure exactly what factor 75 is. I guess it's like a meal prep company, but that's absolutely amazing that your sugar levels are at a healthy range. I used to be pre-diabetic, and it does not feel good. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Because if you have a question, it will definitely help somebody else as well. Because I guarantee you, they will also have the same or similar question to the one that you're asking. Should you eat on a schedule or eat when you're hungry? That's impossible to say. So as far as a schedule, the meal timing doesn't matter as far as how your food's broken down generally, but meal timing does matter as far as how hungry you feel around those meals. So for example, if you get, as a general statement, you want to eat 3 meals a day, but your third meal is at 5 p.m. You don't go to sleep until 10 p.m. You have 5 hours left to feel hungry. So you likely want to change up your meal schedule to push your meals closer to bedtime, spread it out a bit to control your hunger in the best way possible. So I would eat when you're hungry, but also know that you should be eating at times throughout the day that will just set you up for success and not be super hungry afterwards. So don't leave too much time between your dinner and going to sleep. Have a meal at least an hour before a workout so you feel better. I would suggest not eating before a workout, especially if you have a heavy workout, because you feel like bloated and maybe a little nauseous from personal experience. So my last meal is like 2 hours away from a workout. So you should eat when you're hungry, but on a schedule that works for you, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I get a lot of crap from people saying that I recommend eating potatoes. There's definitely a lot of carbs in potatoes. It's mostly all carbs, but potatoes are extremely filling. Take a large baked potato by itself, and try to eat it. See how long it takes to eat it. No butter, no sour cream, no mashed potatoes, just a regular baked potato, or nuke it in the microwave for a little bit. Same thing. See how long it takes you to eat it, and then see how satiated you are after eating that potato. Carbs aren't evil. It's calories that you have to just understand. And potatoes are extremely filling. Extremely. They got fiber in there. They got, yeah, a ton of carbs, but they're super filling. They digest pretty slow, so it keeps you fuller for longer. There's nothing bad about them. So your BMR is 2200. You eat 1500, and you feel super hungry. Well, yeah, you will feel super hungry because you don't eat your calorie maintenance. I mean, your calorie deficit isn't calculated from your BMR, it's calculated from your TDEE, which is total daily energy expenditure. Your BMR is just how many calories your body needs to stay alive. Laying in bed, not doing a single thing, is your BMR. So if you're exercising or walking or doing anything, lifting a cup of water, your BMR goes up and you effectively have your TDEE, which is way more than 2200. So if your total calories for the day for maintenance is like 3000, 1500 is half of that. So I would say to increase your calories and use your calculation based on your TDEE, not your BMR. Your BMR is just without any exercise, without any activity, and it's just you laying in bed, essentially, just staying alive, your organs working. That's your BMR. Basal metabolic rate. That's not what you want to be calculating your calories off of. From Guatemala, what's going on? Any questions you may have, just ask me them down in the comments. What's up, Tatiana? What's my go-to emergency snacks to have on if you are traveling? Protein bars, small wraps, maybe a few Greek yogurts. Beef jerky is also pretty good. Maybe a dry protein powder that you can just put some water into on the go and just drink that. Those are good choices. It's dependent to you, but the ease, maybe even fruits, the ease of accessibility and how long it takes to actually prepare it is also a big factor. So not a lot of like fiddling around with your hands and trying to like, I don't know, peel oranges or like microwave food or just eat with your hands. And you want to have it be quick on the run and kind of relatively better for your goals. Yeah, I'm live on a few platforms, so I see a lot of questions here. Favorite way to cook chicken breast is Instapot. I take 3 ingredients, sometimes maybe 4. I take cleaned up chicken breast, I throw it in there, a jar of salsa, a packet of taco seasoning, and maybe if I'm feeling different, I take a few vegetables, I throw it in there, whatever is nearby, close it up, pressure cook for like 15 or 12 minutes, do my thing, come back, and I have a few days worth of chicken breast, pull apart chicken breast ready and without pretty much zero effort of cooking it. If I'm not doing that, I make it on the pan. So I slice up some chicken, season it with a dry seasoning, put it on the pan, and there's my chicken. Why chicken thighs versus chicken, or why chicken breast versus chicken thighs if you're counting the calories? The general sense is that if you're counting calories and you're within your caloric range, it doesn't make a difference as far from a calorie standpoint. But just know that if you're having trouble being full, if you replace the fattier proteins for the leaner proteins, you can effectively eat a larger volume of food for the same amount of calories, which will help you with being hungry. So, for example, 1,000 calories of chicken thighs may be like, I don't know, this much, but 1,000 calories of chicken breast may be this much. So, if you're having trouble being hungry, you're always better off eating leaner proteins. Not saying that you shouldn't eat chicken thighs. It's just sometimes you want to just incorporate leaner proteins instead of fattier proteins. Just how salmon versus like tilapia. Neither are bad by any means, but you when you're adopting a volume eating approach, you want to increase the amount of volume you're eating, which just means that your foods will be generally less uh, have a less fat content because fat is it makes food just have less volume for more calories. I mean, it just you can eat less for more calories. So leaner proteins are always a better choice if you're trying to lose weight. But if you're trying to gain weight, you want to do the opposite. You want to have less volume of food for more calories. So generally more fattier food choices. Should you cut calories on days you don't work out? No. Pick a calorie deficit number that works for you and be as consistent with it as possible. You work 3 jobs myself, so it's hard to manage your weight. Absolutely. I worked 3 jobs, 4 jobs, I think at once, a couple of years ago. That was my peak. And it's not easy. It's never going to be easy, but you have to work with what you got. Make it work for you. Bring food to work. Get your workout in the morning. Handle your business that you have to do, and then just make it work for yourself. So you lost 100 pounds so far, and the big thing you learned is just keep at it. Learn as much as you can, but understand it's basically just basic principles that you need to follow. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to educate yourself. People all the time, they want to create a reliance on something magical. Let me find this magic supplement, this magic pill, potion, workout, food. That's not you never want to create a reliance on something magical or something that requires you to take it or do it or follow it in order to lose weight or just maintain your weight. That's not sustainability. You have to educate yourself as far as nutrition, as far as a healthy mindset regarding food, as far as your physical activity, what's doable for you. You don't want any kind of reliance, which is why my clients, I teach them to not have a reliance on me, to understand nutrition and training on a level that they can make their own choices going forward. Because my goal isn't to work with you for the rest of your life. That'd be ridiculous. My goal is to teach you and educate you as much as possible because that's what will actually help you keep the progress and the weight for as long as you want off as long as you want to, or take your progress in a different direction because you understood what is what. As far as supplements, that's a huge one. So supplements, let me just say something about supplements. So I'm very, very minimal on supplements. I take occasionally maybe a pre-workout when the stars align, when I feel like a bit more energy, protein powder in my smoothies occasionally. But as far as everything else, you don't need to take it, because if your sleep is terrible, if you're getting like 3, 4 hours of sleep and that sleep is just terrible quality, if your food that you're eating isn't optimized, if your training is just like here and there, you train when you want to, you walk when you want to, you do cardio whenever, you don't track any of these things, but your mentality is on what supplement should I take, what creatine should I take, what vitamin should I take, what L-carnitine should I take, or whatever. Let me Google and find something that I should take to melt my fat, or uh, whatever else is out there. Like, your focus should be on improving the fundamentals that would drive 95% plus of your results, not the supplements that may have a 2 or 3% impact on your overall progress. Take that shift from supplements and shift it, your mentality, to the fundamentals: your sleep length and your sleep quality, your workout optimization, your cardio if you're doing it, your consistency in those things, and your food. Take your focus on the food. See how you can make your food choices better in relevance to your goals, how you can optimize your sleep, how you can train a bit better or smarter. That will yield so much more progress than any kind of supplement that you can take. Natural supplements, not the hormone stuff, but the natural supplements, they're almost useless if every other factor isn't optimized to the best of its ability. That should be the most important factor for everybody here. There's no supplement that you're missing. There's no anything that's magical out there. Period. No burners, none of that stuff. Can you have a cheat day? Um, so cheat days are, I try to incorporate food that would typically be a cheat into my regular nutrition. So I don't have these cravings for a cheat day, because cheat days, it's very easy if you allow yourself an entire day of eating uncontrollably, like a buffet. It's very easy to go off track and overconsume calories for that day. So if you tell yourself Saturday or Sunday is a cheat day, I'm gonna wake up. From the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I will eat whatever I want to. No control. It's very easy to make up your caloric deficit for the past 3 days, 6 days, and now put yourself as an average of maintenance calories. You don't want to do that. At the very most, I will allow yourself a meal of eating whatever you want without tracking calories. Don't look at it as a cheat. I mean, it's not a relationship. This is not a test. You're not cheating on anything. So have a meal where you just don't really care about calories, because a meal, it has a lot less impact on your overall progress than an entire day of just buffet eating uncontrollably. So on top of that, make sure you're including your favorite foods in your nutrition. That way you don't have a need to cheat or have a meal where you kind of like go off board, so hopefully that helps. If that helps you out as far as cheat days, drop a fire emoji down below. Can you have rice? I just saw a question about rice. Can you eat rice at least one time? One, to lose weight, and also because I'm breastfeeding, I really need to. So rice is absolutely fine. I just don't like brown rice. If you want to eat, listen, look at the entire Asian population. They're lean for a reason. They eat a lot of rice. Rice is not bad. It's extremely healthy. So eat rice. By all means, rice and fish are amazing. Not together if you don't want to, but rice is fine. I like jasmine rice. Maybe you like brown rice or basmati rice. Whatever. Eat it. It's just carbs in it. Focus on the nutrition of the food, not the actual food, and how filling that food is for you. Because if you love rice and you tell yourself, I have to stop eating rice because of somebody told me to, you will likely end up overeating on rice once it's in front of you, because you have such a huge craving for it. So eat it. It's totally fine. Cardio before weight training. I do cardio after weight training because your strength and your energy should go mostly towards strength training. Because if you do some cardio, even if you like low intensity for a long time, I mean medium intensity, you effectively just can't give the workout session all that you have because that should take most of your priority. If you want to do a cardio session like maybe 5-10 minutes, super low impact to kind of warm you up, not stretch you or anything, but just get physically make you warmer because maybe it's cold outside, do it. But as a general statement, do your cardio after your workout. Are protein shakes good? Some are, some aren't. Depends how they taste. I don't do protein shakes. I like to put my protein powder in a food like smoothies or protein pancakes. But you should eat your protein first. If you eat your protein, especially in a weight loss phase, you'll be a lot more full. It will digest over a longer period of time, which will keep you fuller for longer. Remember that food that is more difficult to digest is better for weight loss because it will keep you fuller for longer. How do you convert ounces to calories? Uh, it's totally different things. So calories are just a unit of measurement for heat. So uh, the food that the ounces of the food will translate to the calories. So the best way to do that is to just plug the food, how much and what the food is into a calculator like MyFitnessPal. It will give you the calorie breakdown for it, for the ounces of the grams that you're eating. Yeah, chicken and a jar of salsa into a crock pot, slow cooker, crock pot or Instapot is absolutely fine. It takes little to no effort to make, and it's very. I don't like to cook too much, so the most minimal amount of action or uh, steps I can take to cook the food, I'm taking it. And for me, Instapot is very doable. You need a burger, eat a burger. Nothing bad about it. Just know that it'll probably have more calories because it has a fattier cut of ground beef, maybe some cheese on it, maybe some kind of sauce and a bun. Just be accountable for it. Uh, what's the difference between a burger and like for example, like a meal container, if you have like rice and potatoes, you have your meat in there and some vegetables. It's just kind of similar to a burger, just in a different form and different choices. It's not about the actual food that you're eating, it's the nutrition in the food, you know? Eat the food you like, be conscious of calories, educate yourself about it, and you'll be fine. Be consistent. Does cinnamon help curb hunger? Not as far as I've seen. People like to say that it has some kind of magical property, but it doesn't. I believe it has an effect on your blood sugar levels as well as apple cider vinegar, but blood sugar levels aren't related to hunger as much. The biggest factor for hunger management is being full, which is a volume eating, more fruits and vegetables, more lean protein, filling up your stomach with as much food and liquids as possible. That's the most important part as far as managing hunger. But as far as cinnamon, it's details that don't really matter, and people spend too much emphasis on it, especially especially online. You try Greek sauce and uh, Greek sauce, Greek yogurt and hot sauce, and your taco was great. Yeah, so that's what I do for like spicy, healthy spicy mayo, Greek yogurt and sriracha, some kind of hot sauce. You mix it up, and it's actually a very good sauce or dressing or whatever you want to call it. What's the best way to start this journey? I'm thinking that you're talking about a weight loss journey, Nora. So the best way is to not set crazy expectations of yourself. If you want to lose 10 pounds a week because you think that, oh, the more that I lose, the faster I'll reach my goal, I'll be so happy. Don't do it. Try to aim for a pound or two a week, maybe like 1% of your body weight every week as a general statement. Eat generally better foods, more fruits and vegetables. Don't skip meals because you end up overeating in the evening. more lean proteins. Don't look at a certain food as being bad. There's no good or bad food. It's just about what's better for your goals, what's more nutritious, what's less nutritious, as far as calories. Um, Focus on what's sustainable for you. Don't try diets. Just eat regular food. Maybe go for a walk every day. Maybe work out at home with a bodyweight exercises or some dumbbells, or go to the gym a couple days. Just to try things out. Make sure you're prioritizing sustainability, because if you're forcing yourself to do things that are too much, or eating too little, or eating specific foods from the beginning, and you just trying to throw things at the wall, kind of hope that they stick, they will not stick. So do less, but more consistently, and you will reach your goal. And especially, I'm saying this part from my personal experience, but if you have some, like, don't compare yourself to somebody else that you may see on social media, in magazines and stuff like that, especially fitness models, people on like social media, magazines and stuff like that. That's what I personally went through, because I tried to chase those people's physiques, and it set unrealistic expectations for myself. So every time I made some progress personally, I looked at somebody else and I looked back at myself, and I told myself, I just made zero progress because I'm nowhere close to this person. So compare yourself to where you were last week and just be a little bit better. Progress photos, measurements, your energy, your strength, your people's compliments towards you, how your clothes are fitting, your food relationship. Gauge all of these things and not just look at the scale, and just try to be a bit better at those things consistently. Hopefully that helps. Would I be able to, would you be able to super explain how BMR works with a calorie deficit? You can't seem to get it. So BMR is just how many calories your body needs to stay alive. Picture yourself laying on your bed, not doing anything, and your body is just staying alive. That's your BMR. Your TDEE is BMR plus any activity that you do: driving a bus, driving a car, going to work, chewing food, exercising, walking. So if all of these extras are like 1,000 calories towards the day, plus your BMR is like 2,000, that's 3,000 total. So don't base your calorie calculations off of your BMR. It's your BMR plus how many calories you spent, doing activities, which ends up you being TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. From that number, you take away a few hundred or so, and you end up in a calorie deficit, and that is the number that you're trying to reach every single day, not your BMR. If you have any other questions, just type them down in the comments below. I see all the questions here. I try to get back to as many people as I can. How long do I walk for cardio? I get this question all the time. And when I first started, when I was 365 pounds, I walked only as much as I could. So it was maybe 15, 20, 25 minutes, because I couldn't walk too much. And I did that consistently until I started to work up to more and more. So instead of time, then I started using steps. Now I do on a daily average 8 to 10,000 steps a day. I use my phone, or maybe up to like 12K if the weather is absolutely amazing, because I like to walk. So between usually 8 to 10, rarely up to 12. That's how much I do. Now, what I do isn't going to work for you. You shouldn't chase it, but it might work for you. So just the goal, the most important part is to not copy what somebody else is doing, is just to do a bit more yourself. So if your average weekly is 2K per day, do 4K per day. That's already double your steps. It's not 10 or 12K like I'm doing, but it's double what you were doing. So it's doubling your calories spent by means of walking, which is it's amazing progress. So don't underestimate your own progress by trying to copy somebody else, and because you will not feel, you're after sustainability and consistency, and that's done by increasing what you're doing a little bit more, if that makes sense. Yeah, if you're eating 1,500 calories, listen, some people may need to eat 1,500 calories. There's people that need to eat 1,200 calories. People say, oh, 1,200 calories is little. It is little for the vast majority of people. But some people, maybe it's a very tiny individual. Maybe it's a female that's 4 foot 11 that doesn't work out, has a very sedentary job, and has it weighs very little. That person may need to eat 12, 1,300 calories, but the vast majority of people will not willing to eat way more because they have different bodies, different metabolisms, different activities that they're doing throughout the day. So it's different. But as far as your goals, if you made a calculation and 1,500 is way below your maintenance calories, yeah, you're probably eating way too little. What's my opinion on low fat and sugar free food items? Love them. I absolutely love them. Is it better to use full fat butter, for example, in moderation? As long as your calories are managed, you can eat whatever you want to. With butter and oils, you just want to make sure that you understand that they will deplete your calorie allowance for that day quicker because it's more filled with fat, which will have more calories, which will allow you to not eat as much volume of food because you have less calories to work with, which will might make it a bit more difficult. But there's nothing wrong with butter. You can drink olive oil, just olive oil every single day and be in a calorie deficit and you lose weight, but you don't want to do that because you're gonna be super hungry and it's pretty gross. 18K a day is amazing. Yeah. Your TDEE is 2,300. Should my calorie intake be less? So if your maintenance is 2,300, you want to do a bit below that. Maybe try if it's 2,300, do 2,100, do 2,000, 1,900. The larger the gap is between your maintenance and your deficit, the faster your weight loss will be. But faster does not mean better because you might hit a stall later on, which will usually happen, and you want to have more room, more leverage to work with in order to keep progressing. So a smaller deficit is always better in the beginning because in order to lose a pound of body fat, you gotta be in a deficit of about it's 3,500 calories. So if you want to lose a pound a week, that's 3,500 calories less you got to eat over the course of an entire week, plus or minus maybe a few hundred calories for different variables, but that's roughly what you want to sum up to. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for being here. You're 4 foot 10 and 100 pounds. You will have to starve yourself. Well, listen, your calorie requirements will be a lot less than maybe me. I'm 6'4", 250. So everybody's different. On top of that, your activity level matters. Your lean body mass and overall body mass matters. So starving yourself, I mean, it's all about calories, right? So I would first start with just seeing how many calories you should be eating roughly. It may be 1,200. I don't know. Maybe more, maybe a tiny bit less. So it depends on you. But once you have your calories, it's in your best interest to utilize those calories to the best of your ability. So if you have to, if your maintenance is 1,200, well, I know a lot of people that pack in a lot of food for 1,200 calories, even 1,500 calories, which means more volume, more vegetables, more fruits, more lean proteins, stuff that will actually fill you up and it will actually make it a lot more manageable. But it's relevant to you and your goals. Born and raised in Brooklyn. Yep, I'm from Brooklyn too. You heard me say that I'm a pizza lover. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm a pizza lover. Do you incorporate pizza into your diet ever, or do you generally avoid those kinds of foods? So, no, I definitely include pizza or burgers or I don't know wings into my diet because at the end of the day, it's just calories. It will just use up your calories more than other foods. So, for example, a slice of pizza, maybe 450 or so calories. Yeah, I could have ate a meal that was 3 times the size for 450 or so, but I want to enjoy myself. Yeah, so I'll eat the pizza. I'll understand that it has more calories, and I'll live with it. But also understand that if you eat more than let's say you're in a calorie deficit, your maintenance is 2,500. You're eating 2,000. You eat 2,500. That's 500 more than your deficit. You're not going to gain weight. You're going to be at your maintenance or close to it. In order for you to be at a calorie surplus, you got to, and currently in a deficit, you got to be at your maintenance and then at your surplus. So if you're in a deficit and you eat a bit more food, it will likely put you close to your maintenance, which is not going to make you gain weight, but it may make you gain weight on the scale because the food that you're overeating on a bit may be full of carbs and sodium, which will retain water a bit. It's not fat, it's just water weight on the scale. So don't get depressed or upset when your weight goes up a few pounds because you had 2 slices of pizza. Relax, it'll be fine, and that weight will fluctuate back down once you normalize your eating again. Fish meat is practically a vegetable. Best app for weight training? I don't know. I have my own app for my clients for weight training. I'm not really sure what other apps are there. There's so many. Can you hire me to help me figure something out? Yeah, I mean, if you want to work with me, you can message me on Facebook. You can shoot me a message and say coach me, so I know that you're messaging me for that because I get a lot of messages. If you want to, but yeah, on Facebook, that's where I answer questions or answer messages the most. You're in North Jersey. A lot of people from Brooklyn go to Jersey. You're vegetarian. You exercise 1 hour. Trying hard to get my protein. Yeah, it's totally relevant to you. The calories you're eating, your eating habits, your food preferences are all relevant to you. So once you figure out your number, it's totally up to you to figure out what choices of foods you want to use to meet those calories. I can't tell you what to eat, which is exactly why I absolutely hate meal plans. I don't, they're not sustainable. And if you follow somebody else's food choices for you, you will not stick to it for the rest of your life. So there's no point to follow a specific meal plan. You have to follow a calorie allowance that's right for your goals, because with a calorie understanding and education as far as what you can eat separates yourself from needing anybody's meal plans. They're stupid. They're very blanket. It's like a blanket statement. Oh, eat chicken and broccoli for this many calories. That's it. Why can't I eat a burger for this many calories? What's the difference in that? Why can't I eat steak for it instead? Why do I have to eat rice? Why can't I eat potatoes or something like that? So meal plans are not the answer. Calorie understanding and understanding that there's no good or bad foods is the right choice. Yeah, if you want to work with me, shoot me a message on Facebook, say coach me. I'll talk to you about that, see if we even be a good fit to work together. But listen, I appreciate everybody for being here today. I genuinely appreciate everybody showing up and just asking me questions. And hopefully this has been helpful for you. And if it was helpful, just drop a fire emoji down below. I appreciate everybody for being here. Share this video if it helps you out. Maybe tag somebody in the comments that may also get some value from this video.